Hello and welcome everyone to the first episode of this season's ESC Daily Show on day 3 already here in Kiev. I'm joined today by Daniel Gould and by Michael. You're from an Australian radio station. Could you tell all the viewers what you're doing here in Kiev?
Oh look, it's our third time at Eurovision for Joy, Australia's only LGBTIQ radio station, run by volunteers. So I'm here as a volunteer for the radio station, and we're covering it because we're pretty much the place to go for Australian radio when it comes to Eurovision. So other than SBS, we're pretty much on it every day of the year.
And that means you're following then Isaiah and Anja Nissen, of course, as well, I guess?
Of course. Look, Isaiah is a given. That's he's got our support 100%. But as soon as we heard Anja getting the go-ahead for Denmark, we were very happy. We've loved Anja at Joy, especially since her X Factor days, or her, all the way back, Voice days, and so we were really excited that we've got 2 Australians in the grand final this year.
Well, let's discuss that, not just with you, but also with Daniel Gould. We've known you for a long time as a guest on our show. Yeah. I don't want to go too deeply into this, but I just want to say we're very happy that despite everything that happened to you in the build-up here, you could still make it here and you're here on the show.
It's great to be here. My favourite 2 weeks of the year. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
All right, so we've got 2 Australians in this Eurovision. If that's not enough for you to make it exciting, then take a look at what's been happening here in the first few days. Robin Bengtsson was the first guy to rehearse at this Eurovision. He's for Sweden, of course, one of the top favorites, as Sweden always seems to be. And we've got to see a very much Melodifestivalen-like performance from him. And then there's Isaiah, and he thinks all the other Australian artists so far have been a bit avoiding the press. I'm just going to go out there and be this genuinely nice guy and just completely be myself. This is him at that first press meeting, and this is the sister of Salvador from Portugal, because Salvador is not here yet. He has all these medical issues that we are aware of, and so his sister did the first rehearsal for him. Artsvik from Armenia, you can see an item about her on escdaily.com about her not being so comfortable speaking English. And this is Hovik from Cyprus. He's also a little bit Armenian. Hovik from Cyprus / Armenia, one of Isaiah's competitors in this semi-final. Is he real competition for Australia, for example?
I don't think it's competition for the win. I think the Cypriot delegation would be happy with qualification, and they put themselves in line for that with a concept. They just need to tighten up that concept in rehearsals, and they've got a good slot in the running order. I think they can make it, but I think that's what they'll be happy with.
Robin Bengtsson then, that's a different story, I guess.
It is a different story. Obviously, Sweden, one of the favourites for the win. Robin showed us, a facsimile of the performance from Melodifestivalen on the first day. It wasn't anything we weren't expecting, and I think it will do perfectly well in the televote and jury vote. Whether there's enough to the song to really get it over the line is a different matter.
If it was all the same that we were expecting, why do you think he's been drifting on the markets, which is of course something you're always looking at?
Yeah, I think there's a recognition that there isn't that much to the song, and that actually what you see at Melodifestivalen is the finished article, whereas other contenders and other participants are coming here and bringing something fresh. So you're not going to get something better from Sweden, whereas you might see improvement from other contenders.
What do you think so far is the biggest competition in semi-final 1 for Isaiah?
Well, it depends who you're talking to. So if you're looking at the public vote, Robin is probably the one, because looking at the Australian charts, for example, his song would slot perfectly well into the charts. So from a public vote perspective, Robin would be the standout for us. The others are a bit different in terms of their staging their song. It depends if you like a bit of a ballad, or if you prefer an up-tempo pop song. It's a bit tricky there, but jury-wise, there are a couple in there that could...
Portugal, for example?
Yes. Those ones that we might not get on popular radio or the charts could actually do quite well.
Yeah, I mean, there are a couple to mention here. I mean, Armenia is not your kind of song you'd hear in Western pop charts, but it's very effective on stage. It's getting a lot of votes from diaspora and from its region with the former Soviet bloc, and it was very professional and very well done. And I think that will be doing very well in the semi-one sort of scores.
And what about Australian themselves then, from what you've seen so far? I've talked to Paul Clark actually today, and he was saying that, well, you know, we sort of just jump on the stage and then we see what we're going to do there, and it means that they're still building up basically then.
Oh look, we from an Australian perspective, we heard some little things here and there with the staging leading into this, but even we didn't have any idea of what was going to be coming out at the end. But just like last year, you know, Dami's song, we were a bit so about, get it on the box, and it's like a totally different story. I think it's the same sort of thing with Isaiah this year. The song, you know, it's an okay pop song, but then the way it's been put together on stage just gives it that little bit more to the performance.
Yeah, I agree with that. There are plenty of people here who are not a fan of the song at all, and the fan bubble doesn't seem to give it the respect it should have, because it is the kind of song you'd see in the charts. It's very like Sam Smith. And I think there was a similar mixed opinions to the staging on that first day. So it's still actually, you know, the bookmakers are not giving it the respect I think it deserves, because it's not quite getting the respect here. But I think we know Isaiah can bring it live, and I think that we'll see, as with Dami, we'll see a great improvement as rehearsals go on, and we'll see the sort of respect come with that.
And vocals were, of course, her unique selling point. Are
They
we
are.
expecting the same thing from him as well?
I mean, he does, you know, Dami obviously has a big female vocal, and Isaiah, it's not the same with Isaiah, but he's very impressive live. So I don't think for me, it's not quite as strong an entry as Sound of Silence. I really like Sound of Silence, but it should do perfectly respectably on the scoreboard.
Look, yeah, his rehearsal was quite good in terms of his singing. Like, he pretty much nailed it. You know, he could have gone with that performance, singing wise, into the actual show.
So what do we need to improve then now?
It's just how he deals with the lazy Susan he's on. It's just trying to get the right camera at the right time, fade to black, fade out of black, where he's turning, where he's looking. It's a really tricky bit of staging to get right. And that will be our major thing at the moment.
Okay, that's as far as the rehearsal for Isaiah is concerned, but of course with Eurovision comes a lot more than just being on the stage. There's press moments as well, and let's see how he dealt with that.
What was your first rehearsal?
First rehearsal was awesome. It was so good to see the stage and like see the lights and all the things that's going to be in my performance.
And how do you like the stage and the lights and everything else?
Well, when I walked in, I was just like, wow, this looks amazing. So I was so excited.
What did you get yesterday?
No, I came 2 days ago.
So you've seen something in Kiev, right? Where have you been and what did you like the most?
I've only walked to McDonald's from my hotel. I haven't been that far, but the weather's been great, so that's cool.
Isaiah having dinner at McDonald's. These are not the two healthiest weeks of the year, are they?
Oh my God! I mean, I get fat. You know, I eat more McDonald's in these 2 weeks than I do in the rest of the year.
I actually end up not eating during the day, and then end up gorging myself on rubbish at the end.
We did that last night. Pusata hata, just to, you know, for the rest of the 2 weeks, just so you know. But anyway, you can see in this video that Isaiah is like, he's not afraid to be there, you know. He's not afraid of the press. He's young, but he's very relaxed, and you know, I've got a good vibe from that.
Yeah, he's got a mature head on young shoulders, and there may be a contrast there with Blanche from Belgium, who seems overawed by the whole event and being on stage, and her first rehearsal showed those nerves, that sense of not commanding the stage. And I mean, she's got a week to sort it out, but you know, it was very different for her, that experience, than it was for Isaiah.
So she was one of the considered contenders even for victory at one point in the betting markets. How far did she fall in your opinion now? Is it still a qualifier?
It all depends on her. I mean, she's alone on stage. There's no real visual development in the staging. So it's all about her and how she gets it across. And if it's as bad as it was on that first day, then she may not qualify. But that's what rehearsals are for. They're for people to grow in confidence and to understand what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I'm sure she will improve. And if she does, the strength of the song should get her through.
Yeah, look, there was a joke going around that she'd run away, you know, halfway through that rehearsal, never to be found again. It was quite a car crash in that you just didn't know where to look, because it just wasn't doing what it was supposed to be doing for that song. Like, that song should be all over it, you know, she should be going for it. But then you think about the song itself, and it needs to be sung in a particular way, and it needs to have things behind it to help it out. Because by itself, it's a good song, but it's more than that when it's live.
Some kind of tension, like for example, Common Linnets had, or to keep the suspense throughout the song. It's a haunting song almost.
Yeah, we were expecting backing singers doing moves around her on stage. We'd seen that on The Voice in Belgium just before she'd arrived here, and they were also seeing that on the stand-in rehearsals that appeared on Ukrainian news footage. But she clearly decided she preferred to be on her own on stage, and
lots of solo performers this year, I feel like.
Yeah, and that means that she has to really command the stage, and she's not doing that right now.
No.
Again, that's in terms of her rehearsal. I wasn't here, I should admit, at that first day. I saw, of course, footage from the rehearsal, but was she, because we were just talking about press moments, was she a shy person in general? Did you see her at the press conference?
I saw bits of it, and she does come across as being... It was at times where it felt like she was actually upset. Like, you could just, she wasn't crying, but it just looked like her face had some sort of a sadness on it. She wasn't quite sure of herself.
Yeah, I mean, that came across on the stage watching the rehearsal. She looked uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable to watch her because she looked uncomfortable.
And how important is that, to be not just on the stage? Of course, the stage, I mean, that's what people are voting for in the end, juries and televoters. But to what extent are also these side moments, these press events, important for the actual Eurovision results?
I think it's what happens on stage that matters. If she becomes more comfortable with everything that's going on, that may help her with her stage performance.
Right.
Yeah, look, for us here in the bubble, the press things are major, but when it comes down to it, the people who are voting won't have seen any of that in general. So it's a matter of making sure that the actual performance is her best and she looks like she knows what she's doing the entire time.
So the press moment's not that important maybe for the results in the end, although it is a good chance for the press to see if people are going to make some changes to their performances between, for example, rehearsal 1 and rehearsal 2. Are you considering maybe toning down the backings to put more emphasis on you?
On the opposite, we want to have the vocals up, because it's all about the harmony of the song, and it brings out the best of the song, what Alex Panagis has done, the work that he's done, and the amazing vocals, the singers that we have. So we don't want to lose that. So on the opposite, we ask that we want to listen to have the vocals a little bit up, and a lot of details other than that. But yeah, thank you.
Demi for Greece at her press conference, she wants to turn the backing vocals up, not down. Smart decision, Daniel?
The vocals were slightly off during the rehearsal. I do know that the delegation as a whole had got up at 5 o'clock that morning to get themselves ready to come in here early for the sound check before they rehearse. So that is something to be considered when those first acts are rehearsing in the morning. They've got up early, they're not really feeling it at that time in the morning, and I know that was the case with the Greek team.
Is the market overreacting to these kind of things?
I think It does react, and occasionally, you know, it's just a first rehearsal and there can be overreactions. Of course, the thing about the Greek song is it's very generic, and it's perfectly serviceable, if generic, but it just needs to be lifted above, you know, the fact that it's this kind of pretty, it's this generic banger that we've heard before. So we're looking for something extra to lift it above the norm, and we didn't get that in that first rehearsal.
Despite the fact that Fokas Evangelinos was the stage director for that song, what did you think about the visuals of the Greek entry?
When you combine water, half-naked Greek men and lights, you're pretty much set for a couple of good points there. But look, they dance very well. The boys dance well. She loves them. Apparently they've worked together a lot, so she knows them very well. But even though it has all the things that you want in a Greek entry, the vocals are still that thing that really will drive it all the way.
Visually?
Yeah, visually. I mean, there was a problem. The projection screen showing the waterfall was supposed to also show her, but her image was pixelated and not very clear. And I know that they felt that if the camera was further away, it would show the image better. So, of course, the problem with the high concept acts and performances is that they take more time to get right. And so it wasn't just vocally, it was visually that this one isn't right yet.
And that means the second rehearsal is going to be an important one for them.
Absolutely, yes.
You were at that press conference as well. I heard you ask a very Aussie question about all the Greek people in Melbourne. Is that a big part of your radio audience as well, the Greek diaspora in Australia?
Huge. Although, well, the Greeks in Australia, we could pretty much make our own country, like our own Greece inside Australia. We have enough people. But our radio station is actually a block away from the street that's sort of characterised as the Greek part of Melbourne. And so we've got very close ties with the Greek diaspora and Greek-speaking people. And I think Melbourne's one of those places where if you want to find Greece, anything Greek, and you can't be bothered going to Greece, you know where to go. Melbourne's a place to go for anything that's blue and white, basically. So, so there's a lot of people who listen to Joy, but even our SBS radio Greek language shows are huge, massive.
Is this why Australia fits so well into Eurovision? Because it's not just the Greeks, is it? There are a lot of these diaspora groups.
Heaps, and look, that's because of the Second World War. In basically, all these European refugees coming over from war has really made us so diverse. We speak a whole different languages. 30% of people speak a language other than English at home. We are a mini Europe. Well, certainly up until the last 10 years, it's very European. Now we've got even African countries, Asian after Vietnam War and so forth. So we're a mix of everything, but very European at the core.
Have we seen that in televoting scores? Because Australia now has televoting as well. Last year, at least, they did, right?
That's right, yeah. We've seen the Serbs and the Greeks benefit from their diaspora in televote scores over the last couple of years.
Would you say those are the two biggest groups?
Yeah, pretty much. If I don't get interviewed, for example, with Serbia, Greece, Italy, those sort of bigger countries, I'm in trouble, basically, because people want to hear from those contestants. So it does make sense.
And how about the United Kingdom? There are a lot of people from there in Australia as well.
Yeah, look, it's a love-hate relationship with the UK. They're not
That's
loving
why I'm
us.
asking.
They're not loving us at the moment. They never have. Oh no, I won't say that. No, they don't often love us in Eurovision circles. But look, a lot of Australia obviously came from being criminals coming over from the UK and have stayed there for 200 odd years. But in Eurovision circles, the UK and us, we're not buddy as you would expect we would be.
Yeah, so I don't think we've got many points from Australia the last couple of years. That might have something to do with the entries, though.
Ah, yes.
Well, we'll get to the UK entry later on. We've got plenty of more time, plenty of more talk shows as well, and plenty of more Eurovision coverage to come in the 2 Eurovision weeks, which are far from over. So stay tuned to escdaily.com, and thank you for watching tonight.